Aidan, Alan, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a real pleasure to be here with you this evening, and I'm delighted that ACCA and the Institute of Directors have joined together to make this event possible. It's a pleasure to be here at the University of Edinburgh, and I say that as a Glaswegian. I managed to get through the sentence all right. And of course, to be serious, Edinburgh is one of the 4 universities in Scotland that are in the top 100 in the world, and increasingly universities, colleges, students, researchers, professors are playing an active part in the economy of this country and the world as a sort of triumvirate of government, academe and industry. This debate is about the choice that we have on the 18th of September, the choice of whether we vote for Scotland to become an independent country or whether we continue with the Union. Without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm sure that Ian and I would agree on this point at least, this will be the most important vote that I think any of us will cast in our lifetime, more important than any parliamentary or other election, and therefore it should be taken with that degree of gravity and seriousness. I think that the decision that you take should not be based, if I may suggest, on personalities, individual policies or parties. It's much bigger than that. At the essence of the case for independence is the simple proposition that the best way to take decisions about this country, the best way that we can ensure that those decisions are the right ones, the successful ones, are that we take them here in Scotland by a government and a parliament elected by the people of Scotland. And the reason for that is that no one cares more than the people who live in Scotland. No one is better equipped to come to the right decisions than the people who are elected democratically by the people of Scotland. And that is the case that I have been arguing all my adult life. And we now have the opportunity to vote upon it. Interestingly, that opportunity has arisen entirely through democracy, because we have made it clear, as we did at 211, that we would hold a referendum if we had the opportunity so to do and we gained a majority. So we got, if you like, a mandate to hold a referendum. And then, to be fair to David Cameron, he and the First Minister and others negotiated a deal about the holding the referendum. There won't be one drop of bloodshed in this process. There have been strong words uttered, perhaps a little bit too strong, I think, in some cases perhaps. But nonetheless, this is an entirely peaceful process. We are privileged to have this debate in, I think, a reasonably civilised and rational way. Now, at the heart of this debate, therefore, it's not about any government political party. It's not about the SNP. It's far bigger than that. And indeed, everybody that I know in the SNP, and I know a lot of people in the SNP, are in it not because we wanted to be the government either of a devolved or an independent Scotland, but because we wanted Scotland to choose her own government. I didn't expect to have a career in politics because I ran my own legal business for 17 years and have been in the private sector for 20 years. So that experience of running a business, as many of you do here today, I hope has been of value, especially in my current role as the Minister for Energy, Enterprise and Tourism. But this debate is bigger than any one party, certainly bigger than the SNP. I think the lesson of the 14 years of devolution is that the measure of self-government that we've had under devolution has been good for Scotland. Of course, no government is perfect, and none of you here will think that everything that we have done or Ian's administration, the Labour-Liberal coalition, have done is perfect. You will be unhappy with some of the policies, I'm quite sure. It would be very surprising were that not to be the case. But I put it to you that devolution has been good for Scotland. It's allowed Scottish administrations to tailor policies that have helped, for example, narrow the historic gap in economic performance. We now have more people in employment. We have lower unemployment. We have narrowed the gap about business startups. None of these things happen by accident, and I think they have happened through use of the powers that we've got. We have introduced policies which I think are the envy of people down south. I often hear our friends down south, and they are our friends down south, our friends in England say, gosh, up there in Scotland they've abolished tuition fees, they've abolished prescription charges, the senior citizens have got concessionary travel, and they've got a small business bonus where 92,000 small businesses pay no or low business rates. They've got these advantages up in Scotland, and I think these undoubtedly are things that have helped a range of people. So the argument I put to you is that if you feel that we have demonstrated a degree of competence in government using the range of powers that we have, surely it is reasonable to go on from that to argue that with the full range of choices, that the full range of functions that an independent country would possess would allow us to do better still and far better still. If you have confidence in the management that John Swinney, for example, has brought to the economy in Scotland, balancing the budget, living within our means, bringing things under control, having a good and better relationship, incidentally, with the workforce representatives than we see down south, a closer relationship, a more human relationship, an open relationship. If you feel that these things are broadly true and fair, then I submit to you that it is logical to go on to conclude that there's absolutely no reason why, as an independent country, that we cannot apply that competence, but also that commitment, that desire to see social justice in Scotland allied with growth of the economy delivered under independence. And I wanted to outline 4 themes for you today which underlie our approach. And I'm particularly addressing this evening economic matters because of the audience, the business audience that we have. Firstly, growing the economy. Economic growth, sustainable economic growth is our top priority. We need to promote innovation and productivity and encourage entrepreneurialism. Secondly, to build a labour market policy which meets the needs of the Scottish economy and creates opportunities. Thirdly, putting in place an effective and fair tax system. And fourthly, boosting internationalisation. Now, these are themes. These are not promises. I have not, do not, and never will say that independence is a magic wand or a panacea. Life is not like that. Things take time to deliver. We need to work together in a sort of Team Scotland approach to deliver them. But these themes, I think, are themes that we can best explore and deliver under independence. For example, to grow the economy, we need the full spectrum of tax, regulatory and public spending levers. Let me give you one example to which Alan has already made reference in his quote from Willie Walsh. At the moment, the UK has the highest air passenger duty in the world, other than, I think, an African country which may have 1 or 2 aeroplanes. And that is inhibiting the growth of our tourism industry, because for it to succeed, we need people to be able to get here. Now, we don't have the power to do anything about that. We don't have the right to make that choice. Michael O'Leary has said that were we to do so, then within 5 or 10 years, we could double, in his opinion, the number of tourists visiting Scotland by air. I would like Scotland to have the choice to do that. As tourism minister, the tourism market is going to double. Last year, 1 billion people had a holiday in the world for the first time. That's going to double as more people become wealthier throughout the world. We want to get at that market, but it's too expensive to get here at the moment. So that's just one example of what we could do. Of course, it would be up to the independent Scottish Government to make those choices, but the point is, at the moment, we lack the ability to make those choices. Equally, power over spending. It's my view that in the UK there have been some seriously flawed choices made over spending, and of course that's why there is a deficit of around 1.2 or 1.3 trillion pounds. Not an enviable record. But do we then want to go on to choose, for example, to spend up to £100,000 million on replacing a system of nuclear submarines? We wouldn't make that choice, I do not think, in an independent